Merry Christmas.
We are live.
And we are live. Merry Christmas, everybody, from Texas, from Washington, D.C., from Portugal. It is now 5 a.m. in Texas. It's 6 a.m. in Washington, D.C. It's 11 a.m. in Portugal, 6
Yes,
a.m.
it
in
is.
Bangkok, 3 p.m. in Dubai.
That's right.
So, it's Christmas. Everyone's like, are you really doing a show on Christmas?
Wouldn't miss it.
Right? Every
Yeah, no.
morning, 5 a.m. Local TV there in Texas, as well as 6 a.m. as I ran down all the times here in Washington, D.C. The other places we do our show Money in the Morning. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Fun show ahead. David, how was your evening last night? Did you do anything?
Uh, yeah, I went to the store, got some Baileys and some steak, and I had a nice evening here. It's pretty good.
All right, good stuff. We had some family over. We did that stuff. Of course, I'm gonna share a little bit of a show from my daughter that they did. Everybody's been loving. She's really getting into now the singing. Of course, we're ice skaters. We're ice skaters. The whole family was just kind of fun. Um, but yeah, so we'll share some of that stuff. Crazy, as it is, crazy world going on here. I guess we'll touch on that for a minute. We have Fly Mackey, our man, with money culture, with smart money culture. He's watching. He can't help himself. What's up, Fly? Good morning, brother. Good to hear you. Fly. I think I told the story on the first day, but Fly. We met Fly in Las Vegas in 2018, back when Bitcoin was like, I mean, it was still cheap, right? During 2018, I'm trying to think. That was when we had our big run up. But before that, I think we were until like 3,500 or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah. And then up to 19, touching 20. Those are some big days.
Those were some big days, man. I tell you what, it kept pumping, and I couldn't believe it.
No, and the phone started ringing, and I was getting all the calls. Are you rich? Are you rich? I'm
And I'll
like,
never.
yes. I'm like, you guys can do this.
Well, it really is. It's funny, right? Because that's how it always works. It's the same way with Global Boost, right? Right now, it's probably really good buy. I would think, but most of the time, people they don't want to buy until it's more expensive. But you
Hmm.
should buy when it's cheap. You should buy when it's
Yep.
cheap because that's how you do it. You buy when it's red and you sell when it's green. And that's how you make money, guys. You buy when everyone's so scared. Oh my gosh, it's going to zero. Meanwhile, it's like, thousands of dollars. It's going to zero. It's going to zero. That's one of my favorites. Um,
Yeah,
it's
there's
it
that.
has been it has been a heck of a ride. So, just to run over some of the crazy things that are going on in this world, this coalition that the U.S. has put together and was touting, this Red Sea coalition. They even named it or something, falling apart. You have, the nobody's listening to anybody. I think France pulled out, or they said, okay, well, fine, we'll be a part of it, but we're not taking orders from anybody. A couple other European countries are out, or they just sent an empty ship or something like that. We seem pretty overextended, David.
Yeah, right. That's a
Yeah,
funny strategy.
I mean, seems to me we're overextended. I think that if it's a bad idea to send a bunch of ships over there to the Red Sea, that's just me. I don't know. Like, it feels like Pearl Harbor anyway. Why would you send so many ships over to one place? Doesn't make any sense to me.
No, these strategies are not making sense.
Yeah, I agree. These strategies are not making sense. Oh man. So I we have of course we have good LinkedIn's. I have a over 18,000 I think connections on LinkedIn. David, I think you have a few thousand as well. So that has been picking up as people are like, oh, the Porter brothers are back. They're back at it. As we saw with our first interview on our inaugural show, of course, we had Joshua Hawley on, and we told Josh, Bitcoin's pumping. We'll be back to Dubai. Dubai is one of my favorite places in the world.
It's
very clean.
Uh-huh.
It's like so clean, guys. We actually have more in common with those people than most people understand. And if you went over there and you saw how those families were and how those people were, you would agree with me. We have more in common with those people than a lot of people know. Very clean. Gosh, so clean. And, no crime. Everybody's so happy to be there, to be making money. And, so the way it works, too, with their green cards, I guess, or I don't know what to call them. I think they might actually call them green cards, is they get them or the visas, they get them for 10 years usually. And everybody's there for 10 years and they want to make as much money as they can and then, move on. Or stay. Now you could, as it was before, you never could stay, but as we saw, things started changing over the years and people now can naturalize there, which is pretty interesting. We saw our buddy, what was his name there? He's in the tower. Do you remember? It's not Salim, it's somebody else. Anyway, he moved there from Riyadh or something. Another booming area. So yeah, Christmas. David, are you feeling nostalgic?
For me, it feels super nostalgic. And I'm going to open my own presents here and have a Merry Christmas. How are the kids? Are you guys ready? Are they waking up already?
Well, from what I, of course, went to bed early because we were doing this early show. My wife went to midnight mass with Bella, who I'm gonna play this video here in just a second. And they went to midnight mass and I guess did some Santa Claus things in the while I was sleeping. And the youngest one turns 9 in a week or so, 2 weeks. Penelope, she went to bed. I left her alone because I like, you know what? If she's like quiet and she's doing her own thing, I just leave her alone. And again, I checked on her an hour or two later and she passed out. She was sleeping. Wait for the class. So kind of an interesting thing though, because of course Bella, she's turning 14 in March, and I think for the first time, really, she has really the total understanding that Santa Claus doesn't bring any presents.
Oh, and wow!
It's all Grandma and Grandpa and Nana and No, and Dad, and Mom, and it's different thing. But funny story on that though. I'll touch on it quickly. As we're all ice skaters, I went out and spent some time. She's got a boy that she's skating with now. She's had several partners over the years. We do ice dancing, and I went out there, and for you guys that have had teenage daughters, you know how it is. You when they're younger, you love them and everything else, and as they get older and older, things just naturally you don't get to hug them and stuff as much anymore. So we get on the ice, and man, she hadn't hugged me in so much in years.
Oh,
I know. Wow. Yeah. And I'm like, gosh, we have to do this more often. So I'm going to try to do that more often with her. And she seemed to really enjoy it. And hopefully that's one way we can connect. Because I'll tell you, as you guys know, I mean, those teenage years are no joke.
Yeah.
It's no joke. Yeah, hold on. We say hold on for dear life in crypto, right? Hold on for dear life, up, down, all around. That's how those teenagers are, man. You hold on for dear life because it's not easy. I remember getting through there and thinking, well, all right, I survived. I guess that's a good thing.
Right.
So anyway, I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to play one of her songs, just a real short video here. Just let me look at okay, this is a duet that Bella did with her girlfriend. They really did a great job. I think you're going to enjoy it as much as I did. Let me see here. I'm going to share. My new tab. Okay. I'm sharing my new tab, right?
There it is.
Okay. So
Mr. Tingle, the string gonna jingle, the bells that'll tingle all your troubles away. Everybody's waiting for the back, 'cause Christmas is coming again. He's got a sleigh full, it's not time to stay full. He's got stuff to drop at every step of the way. Everybody's waiting for the man with the back, 'cause Christmas is here again. He'll be here with the answer to the prayers that you made through the year. You and yours, if you've done everything you should, extra special good, he'll be December. One you'll remember, the best and the merriest you ever did have. Everybody's waiting for the man with the back, 'cause Christmas is coming again.
Bella's on the right. This one.
He's got a secret and talk and a secret. He's the stuff that he's dropping every time. Everybody's waiting for the man with the back, 'cause Christmas is here again. Oh, Mr. Kringle is soon gonna jingle all the bells that'll jingle all your troubles away. 'Cause everybody's waiting for the man with the back, 'cause Christmas is here again. He'll be here with the answer to the prayers that you made through the year. You'll get yours if you've done everything you should. Extra special good, it'll make December the one you'll remember, the best and the merriest you ever did have. Everybody's waiting, they're all congregated, waiting for the man with the bag. Better watch out now.
Nice, man. It's fantastic.
Thanks, man. It really was great. So that was at the National Zoo. They've been doing that every year for a little while. She really loves the singing and dancing. I did too. Remember, I used to do those plays all the time. I really like that as well. And she gets a lot of enjoyment out of it. And how about that stage presence? I mean, I know I'm biased. I know. Okay. But she had some good stage presence there. So really happy about
Absolutely.
that. Bella, my Bella.
Nice.
So let's touch a little bit, and I have a recorded market watch. Of course, Matt Dixon has been joining us every morning, and he said, "Look, it's 11 a.m. in London, and he says I'm going to be in church." So I said, "Okay, you can have the morning off on Christmas. Yes. You go to church." Speaking of church,
Put the religion card on you.
are you going to church?
Yeah, in my mind.
Oh man, too funny. So okay, overall crypto market. Let's take a look here. I believe it's Christmas, so we could have a nice pump as the day goes on. There has been seems like Asia. There's a big bear in Asia. He comes on every night or every morning for them, and he shorts the market. And that's what's been happening the last couple of days. And there was no different last night. You had a nice big boom down. Keep in mind that, as we spoke about, these are unregulated markets. A lot of these derivatives are traded, and I'll talk about what derivatives are in a second. But they're traded, and, there's really no oversight. So, when they can liquidate, if you can make $2 million by liquidating a whole bunch of people, and sometimes that's how the markets go. So interesting stuff that you have going on, but you had one big huge spike down like that, and then I think we'll start to see it build back up. I think in general, leading up to January 10th, which is the next deadline for these ETFs, we're going to see a market rally. Unless we have some type of black swan event or something like that, which, can't really predict those, I suppose. But I think that we see this market rally up to the 10th, and then we may have a buy the rumor, sell the news event. We may not. It's really hard to say. What do you think, David?
Yeah, it's definitely hard to say. I do see a trend going up another 5% over the next few weeks. Of course, anything could happen. So, but that's what I foresee.
Yeah. Well, it'll be pretty interesting, and that's a nice lead up there. And then, do they approve it or do they not approve it? Of course, if they don't approve it, then of course you will see a bit of a pullback. If they do approve it, it remains to be seen whether it'll go hog wild or not. I think in general, it's more than likely going to go hog wild after that. There's only 20 million or so Bitcoin out there right now. There's 21 million max coins, as we call them in the space, max coins that will be there ever. And people want to make sure that they get those. Why? Because I tell you why. Because you can't seize them, okay? Unless you leave your thing around, and then of course if you have it sitting on your computer and they take your computer, then of course they can seize it. But if you store it properly in your head, you can't seize it. They can't freeze it. They can't stop it. So what do they have to do? They got to buy it. They have to buy it all so that you can't have it. Because you're not allowed to own anything that they can't freeze, they can't seize, and they can't stop. That's the way it works, guys. And that's why, one of the main reasons why a Bitcoin is $43,000 right now. Because they don't want the people to have them. It's hard to get gold too. It's hard to get these things. Don't want people to have them. But the thing, you want a bit of everything. But gold, let's face it, you want to fly over to somewhere or you want to move somewhere with $2 million of gold. That's a substantial amount. I mean, how are you going to do that? Let's even take, $30,000 or $40,000 of gold. You're going to take that big gold bar. I don't know if you've ever held one of those gold bars before, but that's no joke. That's a big, heavy bar of gold.
Well, I'd carry one of those around, but a couple of them, then we'd start getting a little more.
I'll tell you what, you'd end up with a thrown out back in no time. For sure. So real quick, I want to touch on the derivatives. So what are derivatives? And the derivatives are used in finance to trade all types of different things. And that's actually one of the ways that gold and silver and the prices have been kept down. Let me just write this. What are derivatives? Boom. So derivatives are it's basically paper that is traded instead of the actual asset. So when you're trading gold, obviously, as we just talked about, you're not going to, send 50 bars of gold over to somebody and then hold them for a few hours or a few days or a month and then change them back, right? You're going to trade the paper. You're going to trade the derivatives of it. We do the same thing in oil. You trade derivatives of oil. So in crypto and in Bitcoin, that's very largely traded by derivatives, and the markets are really controlled a lot by derivatives. And as I mentioned, this is one of the ways silver should be a lot more expensive. Most people agree that silver, precious metal, should be a lot more expensive, but it's not. Largely because they're able to keep the prices down with the derivatives. So you always want to keep an eye on the derivatives market, and normally, of course, it goes along in tandem with the other markets. But that's what derivatives are. So when you talk to a guy and he says he's a derivatives trader, that's what he is, margin trader. And then margins, the way margins work is the margins, and someone touched on it the other day in one of our shows. But if you have like one Bitcoin, let's say you have 10,000, let's make it easy for everybody. You have $10,000. You can send that $10,000 to a trading platform like Binance or one of these other ones that does this derivative trading, BitGet, one of these other ones. And you can borrow sometimes a lot. You know, you can borrow 10x or more. Now, in stocks and stuff like that, you can't do that. But in crypto, you can. And so you can send $10,000 into the exchange and you can borrow $100,000. You can lose your $10,000 real fast, or you can double it real fast, because so then you have $100,000, right? And if the market moves 2%, then you have $2,000, right? So 2% is like $20,000 because you're all leveraged out. Now, up, it's good. Down, oh, you're crying. You're crying. Not that I would know firsthand or anything, but it's a wild ride. It is a wild ride. Derivatives trading is a wild ride. You can make a lot of money. You can lose a lot of money. It's better left to the professionals. The other thing is, watching the markets like that is rough, right?
Oh yeah, tracking them and watching, because that 1% is really 10%, and then before you know it, you're trying to save it. It is a fantastic tool, but yeah, calculating the markets, you're constantly every minute on them.
Well, and the other thing is, go ahead. The other thing is that, you know, there's professional traders out there, and you have the house trading against you as well, or trading as well. You know, so any given exchange will have, you know, a couple hundred, maybe even traders that are trading, and they don't say they're trading for the house or against you or anything like that, but I don't know, they're basically in the pocket trading for the exchanges, and so there you go. Now, moving forward, we're probably going to have some partnerships with different exchanges, so they don't do any of that. Not them. No, I'm kidding. No, pretty cool. It has been actually very cool, the amount of people that have reached out to us over the last little bit, and reconnecting with everybody. So that's been really cool. And of course, I mentioned Matt Dixon with his Avay platform. That's Avay.io. They're doing a wonderful job. And I'm going to play, he sent me a little 7-minute video. They've been doing this market watch for the last, I don't know how long, I think once a week. I was on their inaugural 100th edition, which was a pretty fun show. And so that was fun. And he's pretty, you know, the thing about the show like this is, of course, there's not that many crypto shows on, right? So we're on TV in Houston and a couple other places, a few at the College Station, Corpus Christi. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Texas. And Texas is the 4th largest, depending on who you talk to, the 4th largest economy in the world. And yeah, there's not a lot of crypto shows on TV. Now, of course, we have to act respectable, you know. But that's easy for us. This is Sir David Porter right here. You can follow him on X, on Twitter, at Sir David Porter. I'm at Networks Manager. We love Twitter. We love X. It's one of our favorite platforms. Okay. Oh, all right. I got one more. I want to talk about the Washington Elite event as well. So, David, I'm going to play one of our clips from our fashion show. So, we have a Washington Elite AI Blockchain Summit, the Information Warfare Edition, coming up in New York City, beginning of April, right around NFT NYC. We always do a huge gala as well. I say huge, depending on what you think. Hundreds of people. I don't think we'll hit thousands this time. Big gala, big charity gala. We'll raise some money for some of our blind vets and our disabled sporting events, and go from there. But actually, behind me, this is at one of our galas. Oh, that was another thing. Oh yeah, so I threw together some videos last night because, you know, it's the Christmas show, and I have a guest coming on tomorrow, which is going to be pretty fun. And then, of course, Matt joins us. But, of course, just the diehards today, it's David and myself. So I'm going to put this over here. We're going to see if we can play this again. So this is one of our fashion shows that we did. This is at the Versace Mansion. Very fun event. We've done the Versace Mansion a number of times. One of our favorite venues for sure. Our gala is the Washington Elite Gala. Always fun. Saw Global Boost there. That was our mascot. All right. Not bad, right?
Yeah, that was cool. Good time.
It was a really good time. That was a really good time. It's funny how when you throw a big event in a place like this, you know, people are like, "Oh, you organized such a great fashion show." I'm like, "No, you don't understand. The fashion shows just kind of organize themselves at that point. You provide the really nice venue, and man, you'll have those girls and whoever else they need, the supporting cast coming and doing their thing and doing their fashion show, which is always a lot of fun. We've had some good ones over the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So I'm going to play this other one while we're on a roll here. This is from the Hofburg. This is just a kind of a clip that somebody put together. Again, it's Christmas, okay? And then I'm going to play the Market Watch. But this is fun here. Let's see here. Oh, wait. Oh, I got Nick Spanos too. I put up a lot of these together here. All right, so this is the Hofburg. So this is mainly just some photos that have been put together. But we have a long-standing relationship with the Habsburg family, which you may or may not know. A lot of Americans, you know, in America, a lot of times we don't know this stuff. So the Habsburgs ruled a large part of Europe for about 1,000 years. They've married into different families throughout all the countries, and they actually started Freemasonry, as it is, the Habsburg family. So very prominent people, important people. And we joined them for one of their huge galas. That was a huge gala.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful.
Thousands of people. It was fun. Over there in Vienna, we threw our event right with theirs, and then we had our VIP in conjunction with them, which was very nice. All right, so I'm going to share that. So this is another Washington Elite event that we did there with the with them. All right.
Thanks, man.
So many memories, right? So I wanted to touch base of the medal that you saw there. I was actually awarded this Medal of Merit, they call it, or Medal of Honor. I think it's called the Medal of Merit because they have the merits, by our friend, the president of Lieberland, President Witt. Yes, I was very honored to have that done there at the Hofburg. So if you haven't heard of Lieberland is in Never Never Land. No, I'm just kidding. So my wife always says, sorry, Fit, I'm just kidding. No. So Lieberland is a small area of land on the Danube River that is in between Croatia and Serbia. And it was not claimed for like 30 or 40 years. And our friend, President Witt Jedlička, I probably am mispronouncing it, is the son of a Czech politician, and they're rebel rousers. And I think his father got kicked out of the Czech political party or something, which, let's face it, nowadays it doesn't mean much. I mean, Trump's off the ballot in Colorado, right? I mean, these are almost normal things, right? So, I mean, hopefully it won't stay that way. But anyway, so yeah, he claimed this land. He went to the UN or wherever it was, and he claimed the land, and he claimed it. And he says, this is Lieberland. And I remember seeing Lieberland on TV years ago, 10 years ago. Lieberland, and I saw an interview. That sounds kind of funny. Lieberland, and it was kind of okay, And then, sure enough, there I am in Dubai, and one of my friends comes over, hey, I want to introduce you to President Witt. And I said, who's president? Who? It's President Witt. President Witt. Who's the president of? President of Lieberland. And I was like, Lieberland really exists? And he says, yeah, man. President Witt's right over here. And so we've been friends ever since. He came and spoke at our Washington Elite event here in DC.
That's right.
So that was pretty cool. He actually met with the Libertarian Party while he was here. We're on all the official paperwork. What were you doing in DC? I was speaking at the Washington Elite event. First event. Of course, that was a lot of fun. So, okay. And actually, yeah, so he was there, and that was that medal. So I'm going to play the Market Watch report, and then I want to talk a little bit more about crypto and mining and holding your stuff. We have a new fiat on ramp. Fiat is money, right? Dollars. You use a credit card to buy crypto, which is always really tricky, and you can do it on a decentralized exchange. So this is going to be pretty interesting. I'm not going to run through all of the ins and outs of it because I have to test it myself. But our good friends at Komodo Dex, where you can get some global boost, which is real Bitcoin, real crypto that you can hold and it can't be seized or frozen or stolen. Keep it in your head. It's yours. And you can get it on Atomic Dex, which is now Komodo Dex. So we're super excited about that. So I'm going to play our good friend. This is from Matt Dixon. It's a 7-minute clip. And this is his market watching. He talks about the market. And as you know, Matthew is one of the smartest guys I know. He is one of the best traders that I know. And he's a regular on the show. He's in church right now, or at least that's what he's claiming. Here it is right here. Market Watch.
Good morning all, and a very happy Christmas to you, to all the eBay community and all of Global Boost community watching live on TV in Texas and around the world via social media. Very happy Christmas and a very happy New Year to you. So I'm hoping, like you, you're actually enjoying the Christmas, enjoying the time with your family, Christmas dinner, opening presents, all of that. But maybe you'll be just watching on your brand new mobile phone or laptop and just taking a sneak peek at what's going on in crypto world. So just very briefly, we're going to have a short market watch. This is pre-recorded for me. I'll be enjoying time with my family and friends. But as I say, if you get time just for a quick sneak peek, maybe this will be of interest to you. So this is actually the Bitcoin chart, the real Bitcoin chart. And it shows what happened Christmas 2022, where we had an all-time high. And then we had this low that we had with the FTX debacle. That was basically a year ago. And since that, we've been climbing pretty much for a whole year now. So you could say we're actually in a fresh new uptrend. And I did say for some time that I expected that we'll get a Christmas New Year rally. And then hopefully this indicates here that we're going to continue. We're within this uptrend now, going to continue within the uptrend for some time to go. And who knows, maybe we'll see an all-time high this 2024. Let's hope so. So a little bit of a competition for you, a bit of a quiz. I've actually made it easy. So these are the coins. You'll know many of them. I've listed the coins here and just put them, see if you can match them up with the baubles here representing the various crypto coins, which one is which. So very briefly, we're going to take a bright look at some of the cryptos in the spotlight at the moment. So XRP is one of those that I know from experience is one that just can be a little bit boring. It can move sideways for a long, long time. And then you get a sudden, really powerful, explosive move to the upside. And that's what I'm expecting may well come in the near future. And I've got here marked January the 10th, which is what I call ETF day. I think we're probably going to get the first authorization for ETFs coming out on the ruling coming out on the 10th of January, quite probably. If that's the case, we may get a buy the rumor, sell the news, but I think longer term, we're going to get a really good pump coming out of it because it opens up the institutional gateway for institutions to invest in crypto. So we've had the retail pump, to Bitcoin 69,000. Then we've had the dump, and now potentially going to get the institutional pump, which could take us much higher on Bitcoin. But looking here at XRP, we're potentially in a triangle. Triangles normally end with a thrust from the triangle, and this is being a bull flag. Potentially the thrust would be to the upside, and we could get a massive thrust to the upside. As I say, XRP is one that rarely fails to surprise for the breakout to the upside. You never know quite when it's going to happen. You have to be really patient. Don't get caught out of position, because when it breaks, and if it breaks the upside in the way that it usually does, this could be really exciting, a real good opportunity. We've had some pumps on other tokens already. As I say, XRP sometimes tends to lag a little bit, but then it just suddenly breaks out very aggressively to the upside. Here's the one that's already broken out, Solana, and we've seen what a massive break we've had from $8 all the way to $114 at the time I'm recording right now. Potentially, the next upside resistance will be right up here. You can see this pivot high here at $143. So still plenty of room for the upside. I've been looking at Fibonacci extensions, and it's actually blasted through quite a few. So it's still looking powerful. There's nothing at all. Whilst trend is your friend, it's moving sharply to the upside. And as I say, the next technical resistance would potentially be this pivot high here at $143. So potentially plenty more upside. There's nothing to say it can't break straight through there and continue higher. But I'm just saying that's the next resistance that we'll probably encounter. This level here is the 50%, which isn't a Fibonacci level. Sometimes it creates a bit of resistance, but let's see. I think we could potentially break through there. Litecoin is another one that's looking potentially bullish because we're in a very solid uptrend here. You can see this with the parallel channel. We've retested a couple of times and bounced off that supporting channel. And potentially the next resistance here is the upper channel here on the parallel channel. Overhead resistance here at $84 potentially. And certainly we can certainly blast way higher than that. But I'm just saying that would be the next target to the upside and would potentially be a bit of resistance there. So we've already tested the downside, bounced off that, carrying on within this upward channel. So that's looking really promising for Litecoin. For ADA, Cardano, we've been asked to look at this. And again, this is looking really bullish. This could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So potentially we're actually looking impulsive to the upside. Though I've currently still got it labeled as corrective to the upside. If you looked on the long term, this still could be counted as corrective. But either way, I think there's still more upside to come. So even if you count it as some kind of WXABY, there's still potentially a lot more upside to come with ADA. So we would potentially have a little bit of a short-term pullback, but lots of upside potential there with ADA. Bitcoin, very similar story. Again, potentially we're just a bit of a consolidation area here, a bit of a correction, A, B, potentially C. But then another push to the upside. This isn't the limit here. This is just potential direction for Bitcoin. So whilst I think maybe short-term bit of a pullback, I do think there's massive potential for upside. ICP, another one that was really good on the Fibonacci levels, reached the 1.618, then the 2.618. You can see the precise touch point there. Then we had an ABC down potentially, and we could even be working on ABC higher, and then maybe a little bit down, but then potentially again a push to above this previous level here that we recently achieved. So ICP again, whilst we may get a little bit of a short-term pullback, it's actually looking as though we probably do have another bullish run to go with ICP. So again, really promising outlook there. And Ethereum is actually looking very similar to Bitcoin, I think, in the outlook, where I think we've had some kind of correction down, correction higher, maybe a further correction down to complete a more complex correction, but then another push, and it's not limited to this level. This is just showing the direction, but another massive push there towards the upside. So keep it reasonably short today. I hope that's given you some food for thought and hopefully a bit of enthusiasm for the year to come. So yeah, thank you, Bruce. Thank you, David. Thank you, Global Boost community, and thank you, eBay community. Thank you all for listening in, following on Twitter at MD Trade, following the eBay community at the various social tabs there. So yeah, look forward to a great year to come, and Happy New Year and Happy Christmas. Bye for now.
He's got the bull flags. He's pulling bull flags.
It's bull flags. Maybe a little pullback, but bull flags. How many times?
Exactly. Well, you got to find your entry point, right? And so, I mean, if you look at his charts, you can really place the entry point right on that triangle and be ready for the bull flag. That's exciting.
Be ready for the bull flag, guys. It's the bull flag.
Yeah.
Well, the truth is, you look at these alts. I mean, he talked about ICP, and I've talked about ICP a number of times here, but ICP, I mean, gosh, it's $10, $9.40 or something right now, and I mean, this went to $700. Okay, yeah. And of course, Global Boost, full disclosure on that, it's our coin. It's not even ours; it's a decentralized currency that we helped start years ago. And we're at like whatever we are, 4 or 5 cents or something like that. We've gone to $1, $2. These entry points, as you call them, before the bull flags, or as we have the bull flags. I mean, the potential is massive.
Yeah, like you said on Solana, you're 10x or at least 5x from earlier in the year and from where we are now.
Listen. I know one of my buddies, he's probably still mad at me. The Solana was really at the bottom, $11. It was $11. He's looking at me and he's like, Bruce, I think we should go on Solana. I think we should go to Solana. Open up some huge 10x leverage position. And I'm like, Solana, really, man? I mean, those guys, they're the bad guys.
It's always breaking.
Yeah, they froze. They actually froze the blockchain. And this is what I talk about, real coins and be careful. They froze the blockchain and didn't let certain transactions in and forced other transactions through. It's a historical fact.
Yeah.
It'll be wiped away. No one will talk about it. But I was there. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anyway, it doesn't mean to say, it's like we were talking to somebody the other day. And I said, look, I'm not saying don't trade it, okay? And make your money, do it. But, obviously, a lot of these coins, people need to realize as well, they really want to shake you out from your real assets, from the Global Boost, from the Bitcoin, from the Litecoin, from the other blockchains that they can't freeze, they can't seize, and they can't stop.
Exactly.
And they want to get you into the other assets that they can freeze, they can stop, and they can seize.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to own anything. Eat bugs. Don't own anything and like it.
Yeah. Don't understand anything. Incompetence. That's what they feed off of.
Well, it's control. They really like control, and finance and this type of stuff goes hand in hand, because if you don't have money, if you don't have the ability to do things, then obviously you're easier to control. You're easier to control, and that's one of the reasons finance is so important. If you need to vote for a certain person in order to make sure that you are getting some type of whatever, well, then you're a lot easier to control. Oh wow, here goes the music. Better come out with some good stuff now. You are a slave to the system. No, I'm kidding. We actually are. The central bankers, guys. The central banks are who are controlling the countries around the world, and people are starting to wake up. And the reason they're waking up now, and I've heard it for years, right? People are waking up. People are waking up. But the reason they're actually waking up now is because of the internet. It's because of access to information. If back when 20, 30 years ago, when poor Clinton was getting in trouble with Monica Lewinsky, nobody was able to really, he had very small places that you could talk about it. I mean, let's face it, Bill Clinton did what probably every leader in the history of the world has done. And he was, he was impeached for it, but people couldn't talk about it, and you couldn't talk about, this and that, and, all of these things, and not to get political on it. I figured I'd go back 30 years so that nobody could, whatever. Most of you don't even remember when it happened. You were too young.
I mean, everything that happens is recorded over there in that office. So it's a pretty funny situation.
Well, I guess after that happened, they all knew that, right? He was the first one. We got you, bro. Well, actually, the truth is that's how a lot of things happen in Washington. Is the truth came out, big story over the last couple of days. The bribing and the this and the that, and does that really happen? Well, of course it really happens, guys. We have a honeypot, the honeypot here in DC, right? And the honeypot is where they entice you in with whatever you're into, whatever it is. Okay? They make sure that you get that, and then they come over and they say, "Hey, you should probably vote this way." When it comes time to make a decision. And that's the way it works. But that's the way it's worked since the beginning of time. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's just Washington. That's how it works, guys. That's politics. That's money. That's the way it works. So speaking of money, we have, again, I mentioned it, the Komodo wallet. You can Google Atomic DEX or Komodo wallet. They just added a fiat on-ramp, which means that you can purchase, I think with a credit card, it could be a bank transfer, but I'm pretty sure it's with a credit card. I haven't gotten able to dive into it yet, but we're going to dive into it. We're going to do it live on the show. We're going to show you how to buy, how to do this. And it is pretty cool, the different things. The nice thing about these DEXs is they're existing in a space where they're non-custodial. And so people are basically selling, they're selling to each other. And with an atomic DEX, you have a DEX and, you trade back and forth, right? But with an atomic DEX, you can do atomic swaps in between different assets, different coins. So if you have some Bitcoin or Dogecoin, the doggy coin, one of my favorites, right? You can trade that Dogecoin for Global Boost or Litecoin or Ethereum they have on there. I mean, they have everything on there. And, Ethereum is another one. Ethereum is massive ecosystem. I mean, this is like, this asset is really, in my opinion, obviously, its all-time high, I think, is $5,000. It's at $2,200 right now. And as I always say, guys, we are at a point in the whole crypto space where the total market cap of all the cryptocurrencies is so low that it's laughable. And when people start to realize, I mean, I don't know, maybe your grandma does own some crypto now, but not enough. right? They own a lot more stocks and everything like that. And as the money becomes more and more inflated, which they're not going to stop, they have to keep printing the money because that's the only way they know how to do it. Across the world, the only way they really know how to do anything is by printing money. And actually, the truth is that we're in such a state now around the world that they have to keep printing the money in order for everything to keep working. If they stopped printing the money, the whole thing would collapse. So they have to just keep printing the money and keep printing the money. And that's the phase that we're in. Of course, I've been saying it's going to collapse for 10 years. So I'm not going to say it's going to collapse right now. I think at a certain point, it's going to collapse. It could be tomorrow. It could be next week. It could be next year. But I think what for sure is we're going to continue seeing this devaluation, this inflation, the devaluation of your currency, and the inflation. The goods and services continue to rise because, guys, there's no way around it. If you have, I explained it to my 13-year-old, and it was she got it finally, kind of not finally, but like, you know, what exactly is this inflation? You know, well, if you have $100 and you want to get something done, you know, everybody wants that $100, but if the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank, decides, okay, we're going to print up 1,000 more dollars. So you have 10 more sets of 100, and they pass them around to your neighbors, and they all each have $100. Then they don't need your $100 anymore. So your $100 is worth way less because they don't need it. And that's what's happening. And they're doing it like a lot. And they're printing up so much money, it's unbelievable. And there's no oversight. You know, the Federal Reserve has never been audited. It's never been audited. Started in like 1913. Never should have been started. 1913. And it's never been audited. It needs to be audited. And also, you know, these currencies that we have, they're not backed by anything. You could say that the US dollar is backed by our war machine. Okay. I guess that's true. I mean, it's backed, but it's not backed by anything. You can't trade it in for anything other than, you know, goods or services or whatever people are willing to give it. It's not like you can go and pull out some gold or pull out this or that or the other. And the other thing that they figured out with fiat currencies and with, you know, and when I say fiat, that's dollars, that's euros, that's all that, is that if they are the ones, and remember, our currency is being controlled by private families, private banks, private families, guys. It's not the government, private families. And what they figured out, which wasn't hard to figure out, I suppose, is that if you control the currency, if you make the currency, you get free labor. Everything's free for you. Imagine if you could just print your money. Imagine that. Free money. You don't have to work. You don't have to wake up in the morning and do anything other than hang out with your kids and your wife and have a good time. Go on vacations and stuff. You just print whatever money you want. Pretty interesting situation to be in, wouldn't you say?
I would say that.
And that's where Bitcoin, Global Boost, Litecoin, this monetary revolution, and that's what it is. It's a monetary revolution, and that's why it's taking such hold of everybody, because people are starting to get it. And you have something, you know, and with different currencies, again, they can change them and everything else, right? And they can mint more of them, they can print more of them. But with the real blockchains, the old blockchains, the mineable proof of work blockchains, they're only producing a certain amount, and that's it. It's my math. Like for Bitcoin and Global Boost, Litecoin, we have every 4 years. So I don't know when Litecoin's next, but for Global Boost and Bitcoin, we have again around April of 2024. So the supply, the daily supply or the supply per block halves the yearly supply. And that has, of course, a tightening squeeze, right? Because you have a normal inflation of getting the currency out there, and then that changes. So there will never be more of them than is designed. And if they do change the design, if someone comes up with a new coin, because that's what it is, it's a new coin at that point. And that's what people know, oh, they could change it. No, they can't. If they change it, that's a new coin. But the old coin will still exist and will still continue. And that's the one everybody's going to want. And it even, as people start to realize that, then they really get it. Because actually, there's like 3 different Bitcoins, right? You have BCH, you have BSV, and you have BTC. And of course, BTC's king. That's the one everybody wants. BCH, also amazing. Our good friend Roger Ver, who we've interviewed around the world a couple of times, is, I wouldn't say our good friend, our friend Roger Ver, is really behind that one. And of course, you have BSV, which is really taking the corporate and government type of implementation. So, but those are the 3 that all claim to be Bitcoin. But when you do a fork, when you change the code, when you change that, it becomes a different coin. And that's the way that works. So, pretty cool stuff. We're rounding up here on our thing. I wanted to play something else from my good friend here. Now, he is my good friend, Mr. Nick Spanos. Because he talks, and this was at one of our galas, he talks about the monetary revolution here. I'm going to share my screen. It's been a great Christmas show, guys. Really enjoyed it. This is Nick Spanos. This is the man, the myth, the legend.
Because now people that have been around knew how free we were in the beginning, and as every day goes by, all our liberties are being assaulted, and Lady Liberty is being assaulted. And it's not just crypto, but
everything.
Where if we don't free ourselves with a decentralized, permissionless blockchain, they're going to imprison us with a centralized, permissioned one. We have to do something. And if we don't do something, they're doing things. But we're saying, oh, we're going to hodl. We got to give some of those things we're hodling to the politicians so they like us. They don't care. They just like money. So money. Every 2 years, they got to run for office. Every 2 years.
Every 2 years, they have to run for office. Like money. Hodl. But he made a good point there, and that is that if we don't use the blockchain to free ourselves, it's going to be used to imprison us. And that's where you start to see these CBDCs, these centralized banking currencies and everything that they're talking about. The blockchain is about freedom. It was started in the Genesis block. We talked about bailing out of the banks. That's how Bitcoin started. When Global Boost started, we talked about bricks in our Genesis block. That's what it's all about. It's about freedom. It's about taking the power back from these people that enslave us.
That's right.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us from Texas. Merry Christmas to everybody around the world. We love you guys. Merry Christmas, David.
Merry Christmas. Well done, Bruce. Happy holidays.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.